Hello everybody, this is Zane Price, back with another USMNT video. Today we're not doing a roster analysis or a roster prediction, we're just going to talk about one specific player and his future with the international team. That is Sergiño Dest. For those unacquainted with Sergiño, Sergiño is a former U20 US fullback. He is now a current US senior team fullback. He played left back in these prior friendlies against Mexico and Uruguay. He is starting a lot for a really incredible team in Ajax over in Holland in Europe. They're a Champions League team. They made the semifinals of the Champions League last year. He's playing significant minutes for them. And that being so, the Dutch national team has come calling for Sergiño, asking him to make a decision on his dual nationality as soon as this week. I'm kind of proud to make this video because it's been reported that Ronald Koeman, the head guy for the Dutch national team, has made his pitch to Sergiño, and it's been received quote unquote well on Sergiño's part, or rather his team, the people around him, so on and so forth. So this is, and again, I'm sure that Greg Berhalter and Ernie Stort and the people at US Soccer are going to offer a very thorough pitch to Sergiño. This is just coming from a bystander, a fan, just kind of looking down the pipeline to what could be in store for Sergiño if he decides to stay with the United States. So we'll just go immediate short term, which is just this coming window against Canada and Cuba. If he does accept the call-up that I'm positive Greg Berhalter is going to give him, he would be cap-tied permanently to the United States, not being able to go over to the Netherlands afterwards. The only thing that I think we can really offer him is just starting international minutes for, I guess we're a top 20 nation in the Coca-Cola rankings, the FIFA rankings right now. We have a really big hole at left back. He fills it, in my mind, quite nicely. I know some people were a little on and off about his performances against Mexico and Uruguay. I thought they were, again, except for a few minutes against, who was it? Tecatito and Brian Rodriguez. He was really good, and his offensive output, similar to what it was in the U20 World Cup, is just really outstanding for a fullback. We see that a lot for Ajax. That's what we can offer him in the short term. What's more enticing is some of these intermediate benefits that would come with staying with us. So again, that's like approximately 2020 all the way up to Qatar 2022. The first thing that you can point out is being an American playing in Europe comes with its benefits. America has multiple soccer brands that they need to sell, from balls to jerseys to just overall equipment, and they need poster people to sell that stuff. And you can see that with Christian Pulisic, you can see that with Megan Rapinoe, with Alex Morgan, the great success of the U.S. Women's team. Sergiño can be a part of that because he would be playing for a top team in Europe as an American citizen. We've already seen kind of the rumblings. If you've been paying attention on Twitter, there was that one full-page newspaper ad that Ajax actually posted in Orlando with Sergiño on it, promoting their first group stage game in Champions League. That's the kind of stuff that I don't think you could be guaranteed if he chooses to become a Dutch international. Again, that's just a small caveat, but it's something that it would be a nice benefit to have. I think what would be more important is you'd be playing, Sergiño would be playing with his U20 teammates. I wholeheartedly believe that Tim Weah would have been in this last call-up of friendlies had he not gotten hurt. Paxton Pomykal already got called up. Player in the same system as Sergiño Dest, Alex Mendez. I'm sure that he's on the radar for next year. Same thing with Richie Ledesma at PSV Eindhoven. A lot of that team, a lot of that really spectacular team that was able to beat France, able to beat Nigeria at the U20 World Cup, I believe is going to be integrated into this next iteration of the men's national team. That would be really fun, at least from my perspective, to be a part of if you're Sergiño. And then the other kind of nice thing is he'd be part of a really nice story. The U.S., again, having not made 2018 Russia, they're going to be really gung-ho to make 2022 Qatar. Their ambitions, I believe, are going to go beyond just making the tournament. I know that Greg Berhalter is kind of put in the situation because we didn't make 2018 Russia that he has to kind of be like, we're focused on making Qatar, and I believe that should be the first an overall most poignant message. But this is a team that I think, if it's built correctly with the right players and the right system around them, could be really dangerous by the time 22 2022 Qatar comes rolling around, and he can be a really integral part of that. I think Sergiño is just a phenomenal player. The Dutch systems are always fantastic at promoting not only these really solid players in terms of fundamentals, but these really explosive kind of just incredibly fun to watch players. That the U.S. systems, we're doing a good job of making these really sound fundamental and really good technical players, but we haven't been able to promote some of that flair into our youth systems yet, and Sergiño offers that. In terms of long-term appeal, so that's just beyond Qatar into 2026, which is actually going to be held in his nation if he decides to become a United States citizen. He would be a key member of a squad. Again, looking down the pipeline, 7 odd years, I think he's that talented that he would be a player in our system by the time 2026 rolls around, or even when 2026 rolls around. And by that time, if all goes right, and if what Greg Berhalter's been preaching and what the changes that U.S. soccer has been trying to make, if those hold true, this is a team that could be competing for some hardware in that World Cup. And then the other thing is just kind of and this is kind of phrased oddly, but the sleeping giant that is American soccer frenzy. If he chooses to be a Dutch international, they've known success. They treat success in a very appropriate, very magnanimous kind of way. If American soccer, at least the men's side, starts winning in a way that I think a lot of people think they should be, you could see an unprecedented amount of advertising, an unprecedented amount of press, an unprecedented amount of just overall name value that I think one might regret not being a part of what American soccer is building if they had the opportunity to be a part of it and left it. That all being said, that's the best pitch that I can give Sergiño. I still don't know if it's as good as the Dutch pitch. What the Dutch can pitch right now, and this is just going off of the board, this is just kind of ad-libbing right now, is they can offer Sergiño at least a very realistic shot, because if you're looking at a weakness of the Dutch national team right now, it would be its fullbacks. They have the likes of Denzel Dumfries, they have Haps at left back. I know Tony Villena plays some fullback from time to time, but I don't think Sergiño is as far away from that Dutch first team as people want to make it out, as some U.S. fans want to make it out, just trying to, hold out hope that he's going to choose the United States. And that team with Frankie de Jong, Matthijs de Ligt, Virgil van Dijk, Donny van de Beek, Memphis Depay is unbelievable for his country. That's a team that I think right now might be the odds-on favorite. I know they didn't make the World Cup in 2018 either, but they may be the odds-on favorite for Qatar 2022. And the other thing is, that's where he's living right now in the Netherlands. It has to be some sort of hassle to continually come over here to the United States if you're not fully invested in the system. And I think there are two things. One a little less important, and then one mainly important thing. The less important thing is, does Sergiño, or if he's watching this, do you, Sergiño, believe in the system that Greg Berhalter's putting out there? If it's a yes, then I'd say go into this. I'd say dive into it. I think I still personally hold out hope that Greg is going to lead us in the right path. That's personally up to you. And the other big thing is, he's still a teenager. I mean, I think he might be even younger than me right now, which is crazy to think about. If you gave me an ultimatum like this, I don't know what I would do at all. I'd probably just kind of go cower in the corner. It's a decision that he's going to have to make as a professional, and I just hope that he does what's best for him. I laid out what I think is best for him in terms of staying with the U.S. I'm sure the people at U.S. Soccer are going to do their job. I'm positive the people at Dutch Soccer have already done their job. Just kind of holding out hope as a U.S. kind of spectator, but really just hoping that Sergiño is able to make the right decision for himself. I hope everybody has a good night. I'm going to make when the Nations League roster does drop, I'll make a video on that. So if you're waiting, stay tuned and have a good night.